We'll bring in now Chuck Gray. He is the Wyoming Secretary of State. Mr. Secretary, good to see you, and we appreciate you coming on. So
Yes,
we talked a lot about these executive orders from President Trump, wasting no time to get that done. But for you, it was actually a couple of years in the making as far as Wyoming goes, remembering that the states run their elections, the Secretary of State, ultimately the head of that. Can you talk about this new voter law for us?
This has been a great week for election integrity with the passage of proof of citizenship for registering to vote, proof of residency for registering to vote in Wyoming, and then this executive order from President Trump on Tuesday. This really caps off a 2-year process, a standoff really with the governor. In late 2023, we tried to bring rulemaking requiring proof of residency for registering to vote and also creating procedures to stop illegal aliens from registering to vote. And the governor vetoed that rulemaking in April of 2024. So we weren't able to have it in place for the 24 election. But we went ahead and went to the legislature, and working with the Freedom Caucus majority and our state House, we brought through House Bill 156, which was proof of citizenship and proof of residency for registering to vote. And luckily, the governor ended up backing down. He refused to sign the bill, but he did not veto the bill, so the bill became law without his signature, and the people of Wyoming won.
Yeah, indeed. And again, requesting that only U.S. citizens vote in elections in the United States doesn't seem that outlandish. Okay, this isn't a crazy concept here, or even proving that you live in the state in which you would be voting for people to represent you at a state level. But again, this controversy between you and Governor Gordon, he let the bill pass without a signature, as you said, but he released a statement, and we'll show it now. Quote, because it is laudable to continuously improve our standards for identification, I'm thrilled that this legislation now gives the Secretary of State the authority he was trying to usurp by passing rules he had no authority to pass last spring. So again, now this is going into effect, but he had also said he'd concerned that it could make it harder for people to vote, could be some lower turnout as a result, and also an issue with the definition of residency. Could you clarify what it means to be a resident in the state, how long you actually have to live there?
Well, the governor was confused about a lot of things relating to election law, which happens a lot with Governor Mark Gordon. We clearly had the authority to do the rulemaking in 2023. The registration process has always been in the Secretary of State's rules. In fact, proof of identity for registering to vote is in the Secretary of State's rules. So if proof of citizenship and proof of residency is not allowed in the Secretary of State's rules for registering to vote, then proof of identity wouldn't be allowed. He never answered that question during the rulemaking process, and he seems very confused by the fact that our 1-year residency requirement, which is in our state constitution and in over 40 state constitutions, that was struck down in a series of court cases in the early 1970s. And that's what we were trying to fix, because since that residency requirement had been struck down, the legislature had declined to act to pass what has often been called a durational residency requirement that over 20 states have, putting into state statute a period of time that you need to reside within the state before registering to vote. And those have survived constitutional scrutiny. He also seems very, very confused by the difference between proof of citizenship and simply signing an affidavit saying that you're a qualified elector, which before this law passed was the requirement. He's very confused about election law. I think really he just likes to make these misleading statements, and the local media never corrects him. So I'm glad that we have you at Newsmax and the national conservative media so that we can go out and really provide clarifications on these false statements.
Sure. I mean, what's the issue with securing elections? And it seems like it's just, concern only on one side, though the governor's a Republican, correct?
He is, but there is a real divide. What happens in these red states is there's an infiltration of the Republican Party, and you have a more conservative group and then one that is not, and he belongs to the one that is not conservative. So we're really advancing conservative values. And like you said, over 90% of Americans want proof of citizenship for registering to vote. There's a broad consensus for this.
Information. Truth is freedom. is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.